Good morning, Florida Southern, and welcome to the New News Show. I'm your host, Tyler Hillier, and I'm here to inform you on what is going on in politics today. So let's not waste any time, shall we? With only a few weeks left before Election Day, the candidates are making their closing arguments to the American people, with Hillary Clinton reportedly already publicly talking about transitioning into the presidency. You know, when I hear things like that, I can't help but remember the old story about the tortoise and the hare. Do you remember that? It's where the hare flies by the tortoise, but in the end, the tortoise keeps wandering off the path, threatening to sue women he'd never met. And the media had already been reporting the hare won before the race even started. Both candidates have revved up their swing state visits in the last few weeks, with both putting so much focus into Florida, no doubt the most crucial swing state in the union. The New News Show had the distinct privilege of visiting both rallies, and it was quite a treat. Here's what we saw.
We're outside. You don't need a fire marshal. We're outside. So
So here to talk about the last few weeks of the election is Pedro Cuervo. How you doing, Pedro?
Hi, Tyler. Good to be here.
So, the election right now, from what it looks like, Hillary Clinton is leading in almost all the polls and in a lot of the swing states. So do you think these polls are rigged, like Trump has been saying, or do you think it's fairly accurate?
Well, I mean, you would hope that it's not rigged, but at the same time, Trump's best bet is that people are going to vote for him that aren't declaring their support for him in the polls. So these people assume it's not politically correct to put their support for Trump in these polls, and then the hope for Trump's campaign is that they're going to go out on election day and vote for him anyway. So that seems to be his best path to victory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd have to agree, and I think a lot of the polling places are using the same criteria from 2012 with Romney, and I think a lot of the people who voted Romney in 2012 maybe aren't exactly excited about Trump now. So I think some of these polls maybe are doing him a bit of a disservice, I would say. So what do you think? What do you think this is going to mean for Trump? Do you think he's going to end up taking this election, or do you think it's just too far gone?
I mean, it really comes down to the swing states. I know in Florida, I saw a poll out today that has him up by 2 points, but I mean, that's within the margin of error, so anything could really happen in the next couple weeks. And he and Hillary have both been hitting the state hard with multiple appearances over the last few weeks and many more in the next few weeks before the election. I would say that the most crucial states are going to be Colorado, North Carolina, Ohio, and definitely Pennsylvania. That's where you're going to see most of the battlegrounds in the next few weeks over who's going to get the election. But Hillary's definitely at about an 80-20 advantage at the moment.
So one of the big things Trump has been hammering the last couple of weeks is he's been hitting on the fact that the election and the media have been rigged against him. So do you think the media has been playing a big part in how it's been treating Trump and how compared to its treatment of Clinton and helping Clinton maybe win the presidency?
I think the media has definitely played a negative bias towards Trump, but at the same time, he's kind of helped them dig the grave for himself. So
yeah.
He's definitely not helping himself there, but I think if he paid attention to the real issues and especially with the news out about Obamacare premiums going up by at least 25–30% in the next year. I think if he really sits down and has a real conversation with people and talks about how this is going to affect people's lives and what he can do to change it, like if he comes out and makes an honest case that he can help make people's lives better with some actual numbers and a real plan, instead of talking about how Hillary's worse or how he didn't say this and that, I think you could see that people will be more willing to go out and vote for him on Election Day.
Do you think it's too far gone? I mean, you know, I saw he released his 100-day plan just the other day, but early voting has started. Many people have already gone to the polls. So he's kind of coming into message a little late in the game, don't you think?
Well, I mean, even if you look at the Hillary campaign, they just deployed Elizabeth Warren out to North Carolina today to make an appearance. So I know that it looks like she has a big lead, but even her camp knows that it's not over yet. So I say that if she's still playing the race, then I say the race is still on.
So, what's the Pedro Cuervo prediction? Trump or Clinton? Who's going to take it
I say Clinton ends up taking it in the end.
in the end? All right. Well, I'll take your word for it, Pedro. Thank you for being here, bud.
My pleasure.
Well, that's all we have for you today, Florida Southern. Thanks for stopping by. And remember, in Florida, early voting has started. So be sure to get out there and vote before the lines get too long on Election Day. It's your civic duty, and this election is certainly one to remember. So make sure your voice is heard. Thank you so much, Florida Southern. And remember, the buck stops here.